to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name is T-Shine, and today we are talking about the Fantastic Four. And I suppose I'd call this my modified theory. Now, obviously, we've all come up with theories. I mean, Marvel has had the rights to the Fantastic Four for, I believe, about 4 years now? Something like that? Well, when did they get the rights? In like 2018? 19? Something like that. It was like 2018 or 19. So it's 2022. So they've had it for about almost 4 years now. Either 4 years or almost 4 years. So they've had the rights for a while. So ever since Disney got the rights to Fox and the X-Men and Fantastic Four, we've all been talking about the X-Men, how they're going to introduce them. But also the Fantastic Four. And obviously, with a date nailed down and rumors swirling about Krasinski, Superwise is gonna Superwise. Anytime I mention Krasinski, I think Superwise is gonna like accidentally go in his pants. Oh man. When they announced that, you better put your video out as fast as possible. But with the rumors of Krasinski, rumors of like all these different casting rumors, the kid from Stranger Things, like all these casting rumors, all these rumors, they're like I say, it's a lot out there. And with these rumors out there, it kind of lends itself to being like well, the ideas kind of come back up even more. But then yesterday, Kevin Feige came out and said pretty much that his version of Fantastic Four will not be a traditional origin story. You know, that they are taking more inspirations from the Spiderman Homecoming movies, which if you remember in Spider-Man Homecoming, they don't really you get it. You know what I mean? They mentioned it, but you don't see this whole elaborate, you know, him getting bitten and Uncle Ben and all that. But if you really think about it, that movie is still an origin story-ish in the sense that it's him growing into being a hero. We don't spend time on the origin. It's more about it's more about him growing into being a hero and what it means to be a hero and the responsibility of being a hero and the responsibility of the suit and what has been given to him and him, you know, understanding that. And less about the origin of it. And that's the inspiration for the Fantastic Four. Now, I have had my theory for quite some time along with others. For those who don't know, Peyton Reed, the director of Ant-Man, pitched a long time ago to Fox, yes, to Fox, to do a version of Fantastic Four where they were in the 60s. It was going to be a period piece version of the Fantastic Four. And, you know, ever since that, and a lot of people thought that was a cool idea. A lot of people thought that was an inspired idea. And because, you know, that's back when the Fantastic Four were created, you know, in that time, it'd be awesome to really be authentic to it, literally be in that time period. Superheroes in this period time, in a time period, which has been done now in a couple of things, but at the time when he pitched it, it would have been very interesting and very unique. And I have been sort of set on that idea too, because the problem with the Fantastic Four, in my opinion, and this has always kind of been the problem with them in the MCU, unless you do it a couple of ways, is that Reed Richards, I can buy that Sue, Johnny, and Ben haven't gotten involved in anything. I can buy that. But Reed Richards is such a genius that if he was around while all of this stuff was going down, he would have been in those rooms with Tony and Steve. Even if he wasn't Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards himself would have been in those rooms having those conversations. And it's hard to believe that he wouldn't have been, like, you know, it's really hard to believe that he wouldn't have gotten involved. At least on a verbal level. At least a mention. He would be world-renowned by now, especially if they're going to cast an actor the age of John Krasinski. Now, if they wanted to go younger and be like Reed's kind of he's an upper-comer, like he just kind of sprung up on the scene, you know? He was young, but in the 5-year gap, now he's like 25, so now he's just sprung up on the scene. Now, if they wanted to do that route, I don't know how people would feel about it. I would roll with them if they wanted to go younger and be like, oh yeah, these guys are new on the scene, this is what they're doing, this is a new group. I would get that. But if they're going to cast someone the age of John Krasinski, that's not what they're going to go for. So I've always believed, in my personal opinion, first of all, I'm happy that he's not going to go with the origin story, because I do think a lot of people are debating this, and by the way, apparently now it's a debate. The origin story. People are so fickle. But it is what it is. People are so fickle. The same people who I remember, and like I said, I hate the Monday morning quarterbacking. I hate the people who want to go back and rewrite history. Like, go back. The same people who were begging Marvel, when the Marvel Studios finally going to make a Spider-Man movie, begging them, please don't make, please don't do the origin story again. We just saw the origin story. We don't need to see it again. They come out with Spider-Man Homecoming. Great movie. Love Homecoming. They don't do the origin. And one of the first things people were bitching about was, well, I kind of wanted to see the origin and see Uncle Ben. It's like, what the fuck? You just said you didn't want to. And now that is happening again. Now they're bitching about not being able to see the origins. I can't wait for the day. No one said that about the Dark. No one said that about the Batman. You notice that? It's just a Marvel thing, apparently. The Batman didn't show it, didn't have a whole, I mean, they kind of did, but they didn't, literally show, they didn't, show it on, the whole, his family getting shot and him being a kid. They didn't really do that. No one said a thing. But this movie, now Fantastic Four is not going to be do the traditional origin, and now you guys are bitching, even though you've seen it in 2 other movies. But I digress. Since he's going that route, it does lend more credence to the idea, and it's an idea that's been out there for a while, that the Fantastic Four are stuck in the quantum realm. This has always been my idea, is back in the 60s, you kind of line it up with Hank Pym, and Hank Pym's going to be in my pitch. Back in the 60s, Reed Richards, he was working on a secret super duper project. Kind of like if you remember in Captain Marvel, how no one knew about that whole project Marvel was working on. Like, no one knew no one knew about that project Pegasus. No one knew about it. Like, it was referenced, but no one knew what the fuck it was. No one knew that happened because the whole file was super classified. I feel like something like that happened. Reed, along with his young assistant, young Hank Pym, a young in his 20s Hank Pym, were working on this project, and we're working on this project, and Reed discovered a way to, travel to the negative zone, so we say, or a zone that he called the negative zone, and he decided to explore it more by creating a spacecraft, and him and Sue and Johnny and Ben got in the ship, and Hank was there too, and they descended into the negative zone. And the project clearly went terribly wrong. They never came back. Everyone thinks they're dead. In that process, in the experiments, in that process of this tragedy, Hank discovers the Pym particle. He discovers it out of the Pym. Because if people don't know this, a little bit of comic book trivia for you. Reed Richards actually discovered the Pym particle before Hank did. But Hank discovered it shortly after him, and he dubbed it the Pym particle. And essentially, Reed is basically was just like, I don't care. That's basically it. He didn't care. He's just like, I think I got other things, because that's how Reed's mind works. He's just turning and turning and turning. What other discovery? What other thing? And he discovered the Pym particle before Hank did. But, he just didn't really, it wasn't really a big priority to him. He's like, oh, that's fascinating. Hank's the one who was like, oh my God, the implications, and did that and dubbed it, so it's just like, whatever, Hank can have that. So I do think there'd be a nice little reference that technically the Pym particle in the MCU got discovered while Hank was working with his mentor on this negative zone project. And I think that it happened a long time ago. Like I say, Hank was a young man. This project went wrong. They went into the portal closed, they were never seen again. Everyone thinks they're dead. So that when in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, when they go in there, because they're gonna be in there, all the people talking about the footage they showed at Comic-Con shows that they're gonna be in there, and there's a city in there and everything. So what I'm guessing is gonna happen, and by the way, something else that was mentioned in Ant-Man and the Wasp is how Janet had changed and had gained abilities, and she had said that she kind of evolved by being down there for so long. And on top of that, they've already talked about how We've already seen Scott Lang be in there for 5 years, be in there for a couple hours, and it felt like 5 years. It was 5 years, and to him it was about like 4 or 5 hours. So it's not too much of a stretch to say that the Fantastic Four have been down there for about 50 years, and to them it felt like it was only a couple days and them surviving on whatever, and they finally made it out, and the world is different. And they're different because the time they spent so much time down there that it affected them. The quantum realm / negative zone affected them on a molecular level, and then when they finally got back to the main timeline, it's different. You know, it's not that big of a stretch to say that, and that's why I've always believed. That's how I always believed in my mind canon how they were going to do this, because I just think that connecting those dots just makes sense. Because if you do, you could, because the only other route you can go is the young route, but you can't just introduce them. Now, I have seen a concept brought up on the John Campea show that does seem plausible as well, which is the idea that they are from another dimension, that the Fantastic Four are from another dimension, that maybe that dimension got destroyed or something, or but the idea is that they were screwing around with something, got trapped in our dimension. Kind of like Bart Allen? I can't remember. One of those Flash, what is it? I can't remember the Flash, but like one of those Flashes, I can't remember if it's Bart Allen or not, gets stuck in our timeline. Like he goes back in time to stop something, and he can't go back. He ends up getting stuck in our timeline. And maybe something like that happens with the Fantastic Four, where they're from another timeline, they're from another, alternate dimension. But they come over to our world and they get stuck here, and they just, they just accept that they're here. It's close enough to their world. They just accept that they're here. And boom, we get the Fantastic Four that way. So that's an option as well. Because the big problem is the question, and like I said, is where have they been? Now, Dr. Doom, he's the type of dude, he fits into this dude. He's the type of dude who I could totally see sitting on all the events playing out. Because he'd be sitting on the events waiting for an opportunity, like he did in the Infinity Gauntlet comic, where he basically, the entire time, I love that comic, because the entire time Doom is there, everyone is just like, do we trust this dude? And it's like, no, but we're all gonna die either way, And the entire time Doom is like, yes, you can trust me. I'm here for the cause, to stop Thanos, of course. Meanwhile, this motherfucker's like, I'm gonna steal that gauntlet. So, for all I know, and they'll go back and retroactively say, Doom was just sitting by waiting to go take that gauntlet. But who knows? Hell, there's a rumor that he's gonna make a cameo. He may or may not be in the post-credit scene of Black Panther. Might be awesome, might not. It's such a rumor that it's hard to really tell. But I digress. I am excited, dude. I am excited for the Fantastic Four. I think Marvel could save themselves a world of headache if they just do it my way. If they just plug them into the quantum realm and just say they went venturing out a long time ago. It was a classified file, so no one ever heard about it. And everyone who's worked, Hank's the only person alive who worked on the project, so nobody else is alive who even corroborate it. And oh my God, and Hank, and this look from Hank, oh my God, Reed, you're still alive. And the look from Reed being like, oh my God, Hank, you're so old. I could see it in my brain. But either way, I'm excited for the Fantastic Four. I'm happy that they're not going with the traditional origin story. Comment below and let me know, what is your theory for how the MCU is going to introduce the Fantastic Four? And how do you feel about the origin story not being a big deal, at least in the first movie? Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show again. Please remember to like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.